It might quickly become chaotic if Islam Makhachev loses to Jack Demomadalena. If the Dagestani lightweight champion fails in his quest to advance, Michael Bisping and Paul Felder both think Ilia Topuria would not be in a rush to give Makhachev a shot at the championship. Because Makhachev dragged out discussions, pushed for other fights, and even hinted at avoiding Ilia entirely, it was very difficult for Ilia to get this super bout in the first place. And it makes sense if Islam loses, since the theme of champion versus champion ends immediately, in addition to him losing his air of invincibility. With names like Arman Sarukian, Justin Guy, and even Ilia's own featherweight rivals may be waiting, Ilia won't be forced to consider the Islam matchup at all if the Georgian defeats Alvira, which is by no means an easy achievement. Islam has since clarified on Twitter that he will not be giving up his lightweight title. This implies that he still intends to defend at 155, even if he loses at 170. However, things can become sticky if Islam loses at welterweight if the UFC doesn't allow him to keep his lightweight title as he advances. A title shot might not be waiting for Islam on the other side, given Ilia's behavior, which is haughty, calculating, and nasty when crossed.
Exactly, that kind of takes away from the whole shebang of it all if there's only one strap. But are we going to do an interim title whilst that happens? Because Islam could get injured. Islam could lose the fight also, as we just said. And then you've got Ilia Topuria versus Charles do Bronx. Let's just say, for the sake of conversation, Ilia Topuria wins that. And then he might be like, nah, I ain't fighting Islam coming off a loss. He's going to go win one first. The things, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you all want to start being dicks, you know, they can do that. They say, well, you wouldn't fight me because I wasn't worthy. Well, now I'm the champ. And now you're coming off a loss. And that's where Dana and Hunter are like, these guys.
Yeah, once they get some leverage, these guys, you know what I mean? That's when they're like, God damn it, he's got a point. And I hate that he's got a point.
Because Ilia would have, let's just, and then this is, you know, crystal ball. If Islam did lose to Jack.
Josh Thompson and Big John McCarthy dissected the prospect of a fight between Bilal Muhammad and Colby Covington, and Big John feels that it's still up for grabs even though K is now ranked far lower. The answer is straightforward. It sells. There is a genuine rivalry. The argument between these two would be nothing short of pandemonium, as their trash talk has been simmering for years. Beyond the promotional material, this contest is incredible. This battle is intriguing stylistically because of Cole's constant pressure and speed, versus Bal's great fight IQ, chain wrestling, and well-rounded game. Bal's defensive wrestling and striking development could counterbalance KBY's emphasis on volume and cardio. Both men like drowning their rivals. Bad blood meets sheer grit in this type of battle, which has the potential to completely upend the welterweight scene. In terms of ranking, Bal might be better off facing Kamaru Usman, or possibly facing Leon Edwards in a trilogy. However, KBY has a history of success thanks to his trash talk. How do you feel about this altercation? Comment below.
I'm being honest when I go, I want the fight that's going to really kind of get me excited. The fight that I think has got more rage to it. That's Bilal Muhammad versus Colby Covington.
Ah, you son of a bitch. You took my fight.
Damn, the stars aligned again. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
I think that's a great matchup, and I think those two guys will bring frickin' nothing but fireworks to that. And I think it'd be a good fight because Colby cannot just out wrestle him. You know, he's gonna have to be on the feet with him, and I think Bilal's better on the feet. He's got more power on the feet. I think it's a great matchup, and you know, Colby has said things. Back him up now.
Throw him into somebody that has huge name recognition, who just talks and talks and talks, and allow him to put a beating on him. Let's just see what happens. But look, two guys are both known for their conditioning and their cardio. Both guys are known for their wrestling. Bilal's gotten a lot better on the stand-up, and
Colby's better on the stand-up.
A little bit better on the stand-up.
It is obvious that the tension between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria is intensifying. A small verbal altercation has now escalated into a full-fledged conflict, and it appears that the animosity simply gets worse with each fresh encounter. Everything started when El Matador boldly asserted that Islam was advancing to welterweight because he was scared to face him. Ilia didn't stop there. He asserted that he would defeat Islam and even threatened to attack him on the street. Naturally, that infuriated the lightweight champion, who retaliated by stating that the Georgian should wait to mention his name until he had earned a legitimate title shot. However, the back and forth continued. It gradually grew into something much more intimate. In a recent interview, Islam addressed the entire matter and made it apparent that he has had enough. He implied that things might not finish with a simple conversation if they were to cross paths, and claimed that Ilia has been talking too much. Islam even stated that if it comes to that, a fight might start. But he did not say if he meant inside the cage or somewhere else. However, it didn't end there. When Islam's partner, UFC flyweight Tagir Ulanov, collided with Topuria in Dubai, the situation became heated. Tagir claims that he contacted Ilia directly and asked him to clarify the remarks about the street, brawl, and everything else he had been saying in public. Tagir asserts that he confronted Ilia personally for demeaning Islam while defending his teammate. Ushateka Tagir described the incident as follows in an interview with a Russian channel. Quotation: "I was simply strolling through the city at night with one of my teammates while the team and I were in Dubai. At that point, I unexpectedly met across him close to the shopping center nearest my place of residence. There's always a large crowd because it's a big one. I addressed him by name and said something like, 'Come here,' as he wasn't alone either. Let's talk for a while. He began warning whoever he was with about me when he saw me, and then he began shouting things at me. I tried to approach him, but there were a lot of people in security, so nothing really happened. But I told him I would break his teeth if he saw me alone. I'm not sure, but he was also shouting something. However, that was all there was to it." Finish the quote. It isn't a secret anymore. Between these two groups, there is genuine hostility. One thing is certain: the animosity is genuine, regardless of whether it finally escalates into a big-budget brawl or manifests itself in another way. The reigning welterweight champion is not going to back down. Jack Della didn't remain silent after Islam Makhachev made it apparent that he was considering a step up to run for a second belt. The Australian champion retorted with assurance, claiming that Islam is underestimating him, much as Bal Muhammad did prior to his overthrow. Jack stated that he is prepared to take on Makhachev if he so desires. In terms of style, it's a really interesting matchup. Islam combines hitting just enough to reduce the distance and force grappling exchanges. He is well known for his smothering top game, superior chain wrestling, and ability to negate opponents with unrelenting dominance. He hardly ever gets hurt, and his cardio is excellent. Conversely, Jack Della is among the UFC.
Estimate me as well.
You like that, though?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, for sure. But it doesn't really matter what he thinks. We're gonna fight. I'm excited.
Do you think that he will fight Ilia first and then fight you, or do you think that now?
I don't know. I actually don't know. But I think, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm ready for the challenge. But there's also the welterweight division. There's a lot of good challenges as well. So it's crazy how the welterweight division sort of kind of opened up a lot. Now there's a lot of challenges, and now you also have Makhachev going to wanting to step up. So yeah, big decisions to be made by the big dog.